In today's video, we're talking about pro bono criminal defense lawyers. A lot of the times, people will be charged with crimes. They want to hire an attorney, but they just simply cannot afford it. So we get calls from people who say, hey, I've been charged with this offense. I need a pro bono lawyer. Is there anything you can help me with? Can you represent me for free? Well, unfortunately, our law firm can't. We just don't have the capacity to work for free. And so we are what we consider private attorneys, and we charge a fee for our services, for representation. Most criminal defense attorneys are going to be in this category. They're going to be charging a fee for representation. The reason why is because pro bono attorneys really don't exist in the criminal defense space except for very specific areas. Things like the Justice Project, where somebody's wrongfully convicted, or there are certain special niche groups that will take cases on a no-fee basis because they get funding from other sources. They get donors and they have big fundraising abilities, and so they are able to support the people working on the case from those funds. Whereas we, as a private criminal defense attorney, we don't get any government money, we don't do any fundraising. The way that we keep our lights on in our building is by charging people a fee for our expertise, for representing them. What about the people, though, who cannot afford an attorney? Do they get representation? Are they just totally out of luck? Well, no, they're not. The government provides attorneys. These people are called public defenders. And so if we look at it, we have a couple different categories of types of representation that somebody can get when they're charged with a crime. You have a category here, we call them PDs, public defenders, and you have private attorneys. Now, public defenders, there are a couple different categories within public defenders. So in some cities, like the city of Scottsdale, the city of Phoenix, different cities, they actually will contract with private attorneys. So these are people who have their own private practice. They can be small law firms, but they will have a contract with them. So that person will have their private practice, but they will also take a contract where they will take some cases that are assigned to them from the city court. So if somebody goes into court and they're charged with DUI and they can't afford to go hire a private attorney, their case will be assigned to somebody else. So for example, the city of Scottsdale, they don't have a full public defender's office where they employ people full-time to represent people charged with crimes. They will contract these out to private attorneys. Now, the private attorney is still getting paid a fee in order to take that case. So the individual who is charged with the crime may not have to come out of pocket at all. That representation is being provided for by the government. So rather than looking for a pro bono attorney, if you are somebody who has been charged with a crime, you're going to want to see if the court will appoint a public defender. Now, there's a bad stigma about public defenders. People will often say that public defenders are the cheap lawyers, they're not any good, and whatever, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of kind of bad stigma around that. That's not been my experience at all. I think a lot of people who are private attorneys who have contracts with the different cities are all very good, very capable attorneys. A lot of the times they just don't have the amount of time or the resources to put in that a private attorney would, but that doesn't mean that they're bad lawyers or that they don't care or anything like that. There is also another type of entity. If you're charged with a major felony, if you're charged with something that's a bit more serious than a misdemeanor at the city level, you may be assigned a case from the public defender's office. So there is an entity in Maricopa County and in most counties where they will assign you a public defender. Now, this person's job full-time is to accept cases and represent people who are charged with crimes for their salary. That's part of their salary. They don't have a private practice, so they don't have any of this going on. They are full-time public defenders. And those people are also highly qualified. Okay, they're highly qualified. They've got a lot of training. They have good training programs there, and they're not bad attorneys at all. So just because you're assigned a public defender, it doesn't mean that you're getting some subpar attorney. Now, sometimes, like I said, they don't have the resources or the follow-up that you might find from a private defense law firm like ours. We have a one-to-one relationship with a lot of people. We have direct access to legal assistance, and so you get phone calls from us back within 24 business hours. That's our internal policy. But you may not get that same sort of level of customer service that you're going to get with a public defender, but it doesn't mean that they're a bad attorney. The other question that we get regarding free attorneys or court-appointed attorneys is sometimes people will want an attorney and they'll expect the court to assign them an attorney even though they're not eligible for it. So just because you're charged with a crime doesn't mean that you are automatically guaranteed to have an attorney assigned to you. Generally, the standard is you may be eligible for an assigned public attorney or a court-appointed attorney if the government is seeking jail. If they're seeking jail time in your case, they are legally obligated now to then appoint you an attorney if you want one. And sometimes people will come to us and they will not be charged with a crime that has mandatory jail. They'll be charged with a criminal speeding ticket or a reckless driving ticket, or maybe they were charged with a misdemeanor offense where they were charged with a disorderly conduct or a criminal speeding or something along those lines. And in those types of situations, there is no ability to have an attorney publicly appointed from the government. There's just no requirement that they do that. So it is something that is important. If you did want to have an attorney appointed to you, you want to make sure that you're charged with a crime where the government is seeking jail. If they're not seeking jail, they have no obligation to give you an attorney. When also you're going and asking for an attorney, the government may want to do a financial background on you. They may want to see whether or not you can afford to go hire your private attorney or contribute a certain amount of funds to the public defender who is being appointed to you. So in other words, you have to pay part of the fee for the attorney. So I hope this helps. A lot of the times people will call us and be looking for pro bono. That's really not the right language to use. Most private law firms will not take cases on a pro bono basis. What they'll do is they'll say, we charge a fee. They may reduce their fee. They may give you a more reasonable fee, but they still need to get funding from somewhere. So if you're looking for a pro bono attorney, what you're really looking for is a public defender. And those are the obligations that you have to do if you want to be appointed one. The government has to be seeking jail, and then you have to do a financial affidavit. You have to make sure that you can afford to either contribute to it or you can't afford it at all, and they'll just appoint it to you and they'll cover the total costs. So I hope that helps. Hopefully, if you're charged with a crime, you recognize the importance of an attorney, regardless of whether it's a private attorney or a public defender or anybody else. It's very important that you have counsel as you go through this experience, because facing criminal charges is obviously a very difficult situation to be in. Hope this helps. If you have any questions about it, if you want to speak with my team, give us a call. We offer free case evaluations and look forward to speaking with you. Take care.